Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Learning Kitchen Live. My name is Alexa, and I'm one of the nutrition interns here at Community Servings. To start off, we would like to thank our friends at Boston Scientific for their ongoing support of Learning Kitchen Live. As a reminder, we will be putting the recipe and a nutrition education handout in the comments section of this video, so make sure to look out for that. And with that, we can get started. So today I'm going to share a little recipe with you guys that has a little taste of fall in there, as we now are officially in the fall season. It is called Fall Harvest Guacamole. So it has some dried cranberries in there and some pumpkin seeds, and it's really yummy. So I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's talk a little bit about avocados. Avocados are actually a fruit, not a vegetable. I know a lot of people do think that they are vegetables, and they're so great because they have a lot of nutrients in them, and they're typically available year-round. So you can find them in the produce section at your local market or grocery store and everything. And depending on when you plan to use the avocado should determine the color that you buy it in. So a ripe avocado, like this one that I have, is typically going to be a little purplish in color and soft to touch. So it shouldn't be too soft, like you don't want to make a dent with your finger, but one that is not yet ripe is going to be more green and firm, and it typically won't be that great to eat if you do try to eat one of those. And one that's past ripe is going to be a little bit black and very mushy, so it would leave a dent most likely. And one thing to note is that when you open your avocado, and if you see any like black shadows or anything, typically that avocado is also going to be a little bit past due. I still use the avocados. I kind of just scoop out the little black parts because it's still yummy. So first, I'm going to show you guys how to open the avocado. We are going to want to make a cut that is lengthwise, so from top to bottom and then back to the top. And we will just rotate the avocado around in doing so. So as you can see here, we'll make our first cut on the cutting board, and you can just make your way around the avocado. You'll want to try your best to line up the original cut that you made, just because it does make the next step a little bit easier. So once you've made your cut, you are going to twist the avocado, that wasn't super smooth, and pull it apart. So you can actually see here, we do have a little bit of the brown. So this avocado is probably just past a day of being ripe, but we're still gonna use it. We'll just scoop out the little bit of brown slash gray spotting that we have in there. So we can remove these so that we do not have to worry about that. All right, so next we are going to remove the seed. You can either remove the seed by scooping it out with a spoon, which is usually my second resort. I do try to use a knife to take it out. So you'll firmly tap the seed, twist a little bit, and pull away. But if that doesn't work, then I'm going to use a spoon. So, nope, not wanting to work. So we can scoop this out here. Perfect. And put that aside. So now you'll have your two halves of the avocados. Sometimes they're a little bit prettier than this, but it does not affect the taste of them. It'll still be very yummy. So we are going to now cut the avocado. And depending on what you're using the avocado for, you can either cut in slices or dice them as well, which would be vertical and horizontal cuts. Typically, it is easiest to cut the avocado inside of the skin, but you want to be careful to not cut through the skin. So here, we'll just make a couple of vertical cuts, and then a couple of dice cuts. And they don't need to be super clean for what we're doing, because we will be mashing it up in the end. All right, so we have one, and then we will do the other side as well. Okay. And no matter which way you decide to cut it, we will remove the avocado from its skin in the same way, whether you slice or dice it. So I already have my other 2 avocados cut up here already. So we are going to maybe take a little bit more of the brown out. That is all right. And we'll scoop out both sides of the avocado into a bowl. Okay. All right, perfect. So we have 3 avocados diced in this bowl. If you see any pieces in there that you feel are too brown or anything, you can definitely take those out. But yes, all right. So now that we have prepped our avocado and everything, we are going to start our recipe. So I have prepared most of my ingredients already, and we are going to start with the avocado and combining that with lime juice. So I'm just going to put it into a little bit of a bigger mixing bowl. Make sure we take out some of these pieces. All right. This one's not too pretty either. All right. So now that we have this, we're going to use half of the juice from half of a lime. So you can either just squeeze it in there, but we do have a juicer here. And you will just squeeze down and get as much juice in there as possible. Perfect. All right. So now this really comes to your preferences. You can mix it up so that it's fully smooth and consistent. I typically like a little bit more of a chunky smooth so that I still have bits and pieces of avocado in my guacamole. So we'll just go through here and really make sure that the lime is kind of combined with all of the avocados and everything and mash it up as much as possible. So while I'm doing this, we can talk a little bit about the nutrient content of avocados. So they are a great source of monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats, which are the healthy fats. They also have a lot of fiber in them, lots of vitamins, minerals, which include vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin K, and they are a great source of potassium as well. They actually have more potassium than a banana does. So that's a little bit of a fun fact. All right, so we are still gonna, while we add the other ingredients in, that'll also mix this up a little bit. So next what you're gonna do is we're gonna start folding in the rest of our ingredients. So we have some diced onions, or half a cup of diced onions. We have some cotija cheese, a little bit of garlic, some dried cranberries, and pumpkin seeds, and some cilantro. So you can add this all at once, or you can add one item at a time and continue mixing. I am going to add them all at once. So we have a half cup of diced onion. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of cilantro. Perfect. And here I've already previously measured out 2 tablespoons of pumpkin seeds and 3 tablespoons of dried cranberries. And then for our cheese, we're gonna put a little bit in, but do save a bit just for the end so we can garnish the dish and make it look nice. And then I have 1 clove of garlic minced. Make sure we get all of our pieces in there. All right, perfect. So now you're just gonna mix this all up, make sure everything is consistent throughout, nicely mixed up and everything. Missing a couple pieces. All right, so I know people tend to be nervous to buy avocados and everything because it's difficult to predict when they'll become ripe. So typically, if you plan to have avocado, I would say buy it usually 2 to 3 days beforehand. And like I explained the color earlier, one that's ripe is going to be a little purplish and soft to touch, but not too soft. If you go to the store and there are no avocados of being ripe and they're all pre-ripeness and they're really green and everything, you can definitely still buy those. I've found what works is if you put it in a brown paper bag with another piece of fruit, like an apple or a banana, that will typically help the avocado to ripen a little bit quicker. And then as for storage, I know that once you open an avocado, that browning process can be really quick. So people have found that squeezing a little bit of lemon juice or lime juice on there can help that browning process to slow itself. And also, if you put it in an airtight plastic wrap and in the fridge, it'll usually stay for 1 to 2 days without browning too quickly. All right, so as we can see here, we have our guacamole. So we can put it into a nice serving dish. So I'm just going to use this bowl here, and we will garnish it. And what's so great about guacamole or even avocados in general is that they just add a lot more nutrients to any meals or anything. So this is something that you can serve as an appetizer with vegetables, pita, things of that sort. Or you can also put on a piece of toast with some eggs for breakfast, or add it to your salad or a sandwich. And it doesn't even need to be guacamole. You can just dice up or slice the avocado and add it to really anything that you'd like. So if you try out this recipe and enjoy it, we would love to hear about it. And thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Learning Kitchen Live. We can't wait to see you next week. Thank you.